Hey everybody, my name's Tim, and in this tutorial I want to talk about one of the accessor functions that's utilized in the on object properties. Objects, they have two types of properties on them, and one of them is a data property and the other is a accessor property. And the data property, the difference between the two is the data property associates a key with a value, and the accessor property associates a key with one of two accessor functions. And one of those functions I'd like to talk about today is the get function. So let's jump into it here. So what I'd like to do is let's create an object, and we'll just call that object. Excuse me, let me make this a little larger so you can see. So we're going to create a const. We'll make the object name, we'll give it the identifier val, and we'll use the assignment operator, and we have the curly braces here, so everything inside is the properties of the object val. So within val, what we're going to do is we're going to create actually let's change this, let's change this to chars, and then we'll make this, we're going to make this an array, and we'll erase the we'll make the property val, and then we'll give it a value of an array, and within the array let's give it some strings, and you know what those are going to be. A-E-I-O, U, and sometimes Y. Okay, close that off, and of course we need the comma here at the end, and then we're going to come down and we're going to use get. This is the accessor function, and we're going to use is val, and we need our curly we need our parentheses to indicate that this is a function, and then again this is a function, so we need opening curly brackets. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to iterate through the property val, the value on it, which is an array with strings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say let item, let's use a for in loop, so for item in, and then I need to access the property, so I'm going to use the keyword this, which points to the object chars above, and then I'm going to say is val, and then for the for loop we're gonna, just for testing purposes, I want to log the this dot val, and for each iteration through the array, for each element, so we're going to say this dot val and use bracket notation, and then select the variable item, which was declared up in the for statement. And then what we're going to do here is just put a semicolon, and then we're going to say if this dot, of course, going to point to the val again, and then we want to get access to each element in the each index, and access to the element in the array. So this dot val, and then bracket notation the item. And then we're going to use the equality operator. I'm not using the strict equality operator because what I like to use in this example is the a reg expression. So I'm going to use this dot val dot this dot val, and then in bracket notation item, and then I'm going to use the match method, not math, match, M-A-T-C-H, and then within parentheses, I'm going to put a /, put a caret. I'm going to put in brackets the A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. And then I'm going to use the /, then G for global, and I, basically it's going to evaluate upper and lowercase, doesn't matter. And then what we'll do here is we will do a curly bracket and close it out with a comma, because this up here, we have here console, and then this comes down, we have our expecting. So you want to make sure that you have a matching parentheses here, otherwise it won't work. And then here we'll take that out. And then so I have, let's look at this, I have a object which is a const, so this is not going to change in here. And then so I have the object chars, and then I have a property inside. The property name or identifier is val, and then the value on the right hand side is an array, and it has strings, and it's A, E, I, O, U, and Y, comma separated. And then I'm using the get accessor function, and I have given it a name of isVal, and I'm using parentheses because it is a function, and I have an open and curly bracket right there, and inside the function I'm using a for loop, and I have a for statement here, and I'm using the for in iteration, and so I declare my variable item using let, and then I say let item in, and then I want to point to the array up here. So in the context of this execution, in this function, I need to use this, and this is pointing up here to the object. So in essence, I'm saying chars, the object chars dot val, the val is the property, and then down here I'm just consoling to the log this dot val and the item here. So when you iterate, you're basically pointing to the item, or the index, excuse me. Each, as it iterates through, it's going to look at each one of these indexes, and the element A and the element E, I, the values in each element are A, E, I, O, U, and Y, and these are strings. So if, and here's an evaluation. So if basically says if this is true, then what I want to do is I want to console